What's up, family? Had to jump on here and tell you all about a quick, incredible conversation I just had on yesterday with one of my mentees. Shout out to Brandon, whose box truck business runs out of Florida. It's been tough out there with the new authority on a local level, but he's just reached his first 6 months, and in this business, that's a pretty good milestone to reach for. So shout out to Brandon on that. He's been running freight with Curry Driver on and off when work is available. Real interesting story he told me. He has a good friend who put him in contact with an AC company that he works for that was looking for drivers. And so he gives his number to the friend to pass to the manager. But then Brandon says, hey, give me his number as well, and I'll follow up and give him a call. They make the exchange, and shortly after, Brandon gets a call from Curry with work for the next 2 days, paying about $600 a day for roughly 30 miles to do a few drops. So he's like, yeah, I'll take it. First thing his contact from Curry mentioned was that we had another driver on these loads, but we had to let him go because he walked into the shipper's office with flip-flops on, and they called us. And I said, what? Well, good for you, bad for him, but watch how things begin to line up for Brandon. Now, let me say this. This business will treat you how you treat it. If you take it lightly and show up like you don't care, you'll see the fruits of it quickly, but it may not be the kind you like to eat. And so in walks Brandon, one of the most well-respected, energetic, best friend's best friend, can turn your bad day into a great day after meeting this gentleman, right? Listen, I'm so proud of Brandon. He pulls up to the shipper's office, gets his dock door, but decides to go inside and meet the gentlemen that are about to load his truck. They seem to be behind, and Brandon proceeds to ask, hey, if you guys need help getting this load sorted, I can help get things moving a little faster if possible. The clerk responds back, are you serious? Wow, absolutely. Most drivers just sit out there in their trucks and wait for us to get them loaded. Brandon says, oh man, I don't mind at all. They grab some pallets and start loading the bigger boxes on top of the pallets. And they show Brandon how to tag them for the stops. Immediately, this separates Brandon from every driver that has come to the shipper to be loaded. And it's a bunch of AC parts that he's moving that are all going to different AC store customers. Now, Brandon does his drops on day one and remembers most of the folks that he's met at all of the stores. Great conversations while he's delivering, super friendly, outgoing attitude. So one of his stops, they give him a company ink pen as a thank you. Next stop, he pulls out the same pen from the other AC company, and they tell Brandon, you need a better pen than that one, and give Brandon one of their pens. Plus, they ask him, does he like hats? The manager opens up a file cabinet full of company branded hats and asks Brandon, what color does he like? And so he gives him a hat. And on his way out, one of the employees pulled Brandon to the side and says, I've been working here 6 years, and that guy has never said one word to me. And so they get a good laugh on his way out the door. But then Brandon is leaving his final stop, and the manager there asks Brandon his name, and she says, I just wanted to tell you that we have a lot of drivers come through here, and I mean a lot. You'd be shocked at what they pull up in to deliver our parts. You've been the most friendliest professional driver we've seen come through here in a long time, and I just want to say I appreciate you. Now watch this. Brandon shows up for day 2, and the shipping clerk calls Brandon over and says, man, we've gotten phone calls from almost all of our customers raving about how professional you were when delivering these parts. He says, I know they mentioned 2 days to you, but I'm going to keep using you for these drops until they say I can't no more. Brandon has been running these drops going on 3 weeks and still going strong, right at about $600 a day. Most days 30 miles. Max he's done is about 75 if I recall correctly. Now, this is a classic example of professionalism. This is what I've been talking about on this channel over the past 4.5 years. Your first impression will always be a lasting impression on someone who's never met or seen you before. In business, your attitude would determine your altitude. Can you imagine if Brandon would have sat in his truck scrolling on social media, waiting for his truck to be loaded? I'd probably not be telling you all this story right now. In fact, he'd more than likely would have only ran for those 2 days, and that would have been the end until the next call. But funny ending to this story. Through those chains of customers, he ended up delivering to that same AC store that his friend worked at and met that manager while delivering those parts. I said, Brandon, this is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Drop that in the comment. When preparation meets opportunity. See, respect and professionalism will get you indoors and help you gain a competitive advantage and a reputation for being credible and reliable. And so starting September 2nd, Amazon will be updating the way they calculate the performance score metrics. And so it says to prepare for these changes so you can maintain a strong score. Here's what you need to know. On-time performance, as I'm reading it, on-time performance, we're adjusting the score impact for late penalties, including updated delay time bands. 1 to 60 minutes late will be a one-time penalty. 61 to 240 minutes late will be a 2x penalty. 241 to 600 minutes late will be a 4x penalty, increased from 2x. And 601 plus minutes late will be an 8x penalty, which increases from 4x. And so for acceptance, we're adjusting penalty tiers for contract rejections. So if you're running contract rejections beyond 3 weeks, you get a one-time penalty, previously 0.75 penalty. Contract rejections within 3 weeks, 2x penalty, previously 1 time. Contract rejections post-execution, 4x penalty. We're adjusting penalty tiers for block rejections. Block rejection, 24 hours from execution, 1x penalty, previously 6 hours. Block rejection, 24 hours from execution, 4x penalty, previously 6 hours. And app usage, we're adjusting the weighting, 50% app steps completion, previously 70%. And for 50% location availability, previously 30%. Disruption free calculations will remain unchanged. So it says your overall performance score will still affect your ability to book Amazon loads. If you have any questions, please see our scorecard or review the updated performance metric training in Relay Support Center. So looks like performance scores will be tightening up. What do you guys think about that? Drop it down in the comment section. More updates, more changes. Another change too. Now, if your drivers are not doing the facial recognition scans, if they're not scanning in, if your drivers are not scanning in, they're doing the facial recognition. You know, when you pull up to Amazon and they ask you to take the photo, if you don't do the photo recognition, your loads will be rejected. Your loads will be canceled, will be rejected. And so if your drivers are not doing that, I encourage you to make sure that they do their photo recognition when they're pulling up at Relay, if you're going to run Relay. So these are more changes. Not sure why, but yeah, more changes. If you found this video helpful, if you enjoyed the story, shout out to Brandon for giving me a call and giving me that info, because attitude, you guys, attitude determines your altitude. That's a great saying. It sounds like a great saying, but it's actually the truth. Your attitude will determine your altitude. That energy, the way you present yourself, the way you communicate with people, all of these things help in your business. They will help you expand beyond your wildest dreams. Till the next video, always hustle, never stop growing. It's the homie Bigg Vic TV. Let's go, let's get it. Let's eat, baby.